Hello, I'm Caroline Marshall, and welcome to Bump to Business Owner, the podcast speaking to mums in business, you. I'll be in conversation with some of the most inspiring women and mothers in enterprise about their journey, how they created their successful businesses alongside raising their children, and what that looks like in work and family life. Hello and welcome to Bump to Business Owner. I am your host, Caroline Marshall, and we are back. It has been a minute, hasn't it? We are back. I'm back with something a little bit different. We are doing a mini series, which I'm going to explain why we're doing this for several reasons. But it's so exciting to be back. I hope everyone is well, managing the business, motherhood juggle, or putting exciting plans to be a mother, to be a business owner, whichever person you are listening to this, or just here for the fun, which welcome along for that as well. Honestly, I'm going to start with a moment of honesty, is what I've been saying with the team recently, and I've been sharing a little bit more on my Instagram stories that the reason, we always take a summer break. We have to have a break for me and the team. But it's been longer than expected and I needed a break. My kids now, time of recording this is the end of a first week at school for both of them. Exciting. So I know there'll be many of you out there listening to this who relate to that. And I was meant to go to Ideas Fest for 2 days, and then it just got to a point I was like, no, there's things I need to focus on with the business, with revenue, and just taking time for myself. I think it's kind of a wrong time for Mother's Ideas Fest, isn't it? Just the kids go back to school and then you got to, going to a festival. So maybe the organisers listening to this, they're not. I should know that, but no, someone else said that to me. And it's not a million miles away from me because I don't drive. It's just a bit of a challenge getting there, and there was a tube strike this week, and so many reasons, and now it was absolutely the right choice to make. It meant I took a really long day to work in the middle of the week, which I haven't had in so long, and then went to play pickleball, which is always good for wellbeing, community, and seeing the school mums. Yes, I am a pickleballer apparently now, not a very good one, competitive but not great. I'm trying. And I took a long day to work, and I've realised that's what I needed. I needed some time, and my brain has started to come back this week. And so things that felt really hard, signs of burnout, hello, things that felt really hard were just easy to get done. And I then sat back and reflected on it a little bit, and basically started the year, January, I was really pushing for some sale. We needed to make some sales. I had all these leads, and then they all came just as it happens. I knew this was going to happen. Just that I started the Goldman Sachs 10K SB business program, all these clients wanted to start with us, which is great. We needed it. That's why I was on the growth program. But I started this intense program. Also, we had a family bereavement. My mother-in-law died. And so a lot with the family and a lot with the business. And then excitingly, one of my core team going on maternity leave, which means a huge shift in restructure, which needed to happen anyway, but we fast forwarded it to support her maternity leave. And so then when I finished the program, I went straight into trying to make sure the business structure was working. We were all supporting each other, but then straight into summer holidays. And now I look back on it and I think, because we had, for me, the first 5 years was really intense, job losses, COVID, lockdowns, pregnancy, NICU recovery, intensive care, all of those things. I have this habit of being like, oh no, but this isn't as hard as that. And then it's looking about, this year was a lot. So I've really acknowledge that now, and it feels very freeing. I'm not on a business program. We're not in the thick of bereavement or anything like that at the minute, and we're just plowing along with my second child who started school, and it's very nice. I can focus on the business, and alongside all of that I had a podcast as well, and it is a real pleasure doing this, but for anyone who runs a podcast, it's a lot of work. And I have help. I have a team of 3 helping me with this podcast. So real respect for everyone who does the editing. This wouldn't be happening if I didn't have the upsource team, quite frankly. Shout out / advert for them. So it's a real pleasure running it. But there are so many amazing female founders who are mothers out there who want to be on the podcast. And it's a real honour and a real pleasure. But for someone like me who wants to please everyone and genuinely wants to tell these stories, because sometimes it's an absolute pleasure, or should I say an absolute honour for what pops up in my inbox sometimes and how open people are with me. And I really appreciate people feel like they can be open with me to tell me their stories. And then I want to say yes to everyone. And I don't have the time, I don't have the capacity, and I really didn't for a while. But also, I've always got to think about who's going to be a right fit for the community, who's going to be a right fit for the rest of the schedule, who is going to be an amazing story to tell, but also have a community to help us grow. And it's really, really hard for me to say that. And actually, I really don't like how I said that, because I find that really, really challenging. And then it got to the point, hence another sign of creeping towards burnout. Anyone want to hear more about signs of burnout, listen to a past episode with Dr. Claire, the burnout doctor. And so I'm going to really relate to that one, is that signs of so my inbox for Bump to Business Owner was just left the whole summer, and I couldn't face it. And that is a sign things aren't going well, especially with someone like me. My upsource inbox was fine. I was keeping on top of it, keeping my normal pace with the upsource inbox. And it's a lot easier, can I tell you what, when someone isn't going to be a right fit for the team on upsource, because I always have to think about the clients, I have to think about the rest of the team, and I have to think about the skills we need. It's a lot easier to give that acknowledgeable feedback when it's just an hour's podcast recording. I think everyone's got a great story, and it's really hard to say, especially if like I'm friendly with people. I have really, really struggled with that, and I'd clearly need to do some work on that. But also though, shout out to Mary, who edits this podcast. It was her, when I was struggling with this inbox, was like, maybe you need some help with that. And I'm like, wow, I should do a discovery call with my team because this is what I'm talking about. And I was like, you're right. Why have I've got people there. I've got someone who can help me with my inbox. And I'm like, why have I not been doing that? And it's because I think I just needed to shut out the podcast for a while, which is also one of my coping mechanisms, which I know, having done all the trauma recovery, is that when I can't cope with something, I'll shut it out. So that's what I did with the podcast for a little bit, and it was needed. I'm glad I did it, because it meant also I did some things in the background. I could really think, and in all honesty, it crossed my mind, is the podcast coming back? And I think that's really healthy and a sign of growth, because having quit a career in singing before, having done that before and kept it going for too long, it's really good. And I think it's also really good for founders to do this regularly, if it's not working for you, to really question, because you've got to really love what you're doing with this stuff, because it takes a lot from you. So I did some soul searching on there, and good news, it's coming back. I'm doing it a bit lighter than before. I'm seeing how the end of the year goes. I've had a huge list of guests, and I've been able to pick and choose who's going to be great, as in complementary to each other, and also bring different stories, different backgrounds, which is so important to keep this growing and not have 10 accountants on. Love my accountant, been say this here, but say that, or 10 virtual assistant agency, we've already got a great one here. So what we're coming back with is also reignited the past year to 2 years my passion for the assistant industry, which is great because that's my business, so that's a good sign. But I can see how much voices are needed in the assistant industry, and I can lend mine as a virtual assistant agency owner, former PA, and so I'm bringing stuff which is my learnings from there, but also having a bit more VA industry focus, just for a couple of episodes, not for the whole season, just to bring back that awareness. I think there's a lot of it being a pink industry. There's a lot of misunderstanding about our roles, and what's really exciting about our role is I went through a phase where I'd go to networking and be like, what about AI? And I'm like, what about AI? I'd listen to a recent podcast I did with Rhiannon from Lemon. She kindly invited me to be one of her first guests on the podcast, and we got a little quote there. That's what I said on there, because it really was a bit eye roll for a while going networking. Everyone just assumed the assistant role was going to be replaced, and what I love about it now is that it's causing us to really shout out about the other skills that people don't understand about being that real, all the soft skills that in an AI world people want as needing organizations. Also the fact, you're getting organizations like, oh, I've streamlined everything, and then I still need someone to run it all, and that's where we come in. So I am really passionate about focusing on that. So, but I also want to focus on today is bringing those skills and saying to you, okay, I know a pain point for everyone. I'd say 90% of people is their inbox. The amount of people who have thousands in their little iPhone mail corner on their inbox, and they're like, it's fine, I can deal with it. You have no idea until your inbox is clear how much headspace having thousands of emails in your inbox takes up, because it does. It takes up stress, the stress of, because there will always be important things, even if it's your personal inbox. Like, for example, my personal inbox is an absolute mess, and I am going through the process of clearing it out. But I get school emails into there, and so the stress that I'm missing something important from school, especially as I'm a class rep this year. Yes, I said I was taking on no other responsibility, and I've done that. But so good luck me. So hence I need to keep on top of my personal inbox, because school comms come in there, and it's really important that I stay on top of it to do my class rep duties for the year. And something I did last year with one, I've got two personal inbox, obviously, why would I do that to myself? But I'm bringing in some learnings from other people, from the team, but also this is going to go. You can sign up now after this if you want to learn more to my inbox in a day detox. I have recently been training an in-house PA on how to do this, but also my guide to a zero inbox, because it shouldn't be overwhelming and it should be easy and it should leave you feeling better. So my first rule of thumb for the inbox, and if you've not heard of this, you should live by it, is do, delegate, delete, or schedule. And so basically, when you're in your inbox, and I say this as well, do not be in your inbox throughout the day. It's one thing if you're a VA and that's your job to manage an inbox for someone else, then yes, be in that inbox throughout the day. But the rest of us, founders, do not be in your inbox throughout the day, even if you're service-based. I know a lot of people have clients and they feel like they should be really responsive to them. And then you get the other side of it where people are like, I've got an out of office on and they can wait. And I do think there's a happy medium of not feeling like you have to have an out of office on all the time, saying you're not going to immediately reply, and also not immediately replying. So having scheduled checks throughout the day where you have that focus time, and I know anyone who's got ADHD, neurospicy, you might be listening to this going, that's my idea of hell, Caroline. So it's not going to work for everyone, but I challenge you to give it a go and create that habit. Listen to my podcast on habit stacking and create a habit, attach it to something where you go into your inbox, because a lot of the time that's the case. It's not about following a schedule or a tight schedule or being one of those Instagram people where they're like, I'm doing this all throughout the day, and that's not you. I'm talking about attaching it to a habit and celebrating it afterwards. And going through your inbox, so doing everything, all those quick responses, just forcing yourself to do them. Delegate, not all of us have the privilege of doing that, but if it's a personal inbox, delegate stuff to your partner. In an ideal world, you shouldn't be doing that either and sharing the load, but delegating. Obviously, just deleting, unsubscribe. Gmail now has a thing where you can press a button and you can see all the things you can unsubscribe to, which is genius. So hopefully Microsoft will bring that in soon. Unsubscribe away, and also I'll talk about creating filters in a minute. Unsubscribe, delete, all of that stuff, and schedule. This is the key. So you should not be using your inbox as a to-do list. And this is what the trap so many of us, including myself, have fallen victim to. And you should have some way of keeping yourself organized. I know some people out there, I've seen the content, love writing stuff down still. And it's the dopamine hit of checking things off. And so I'm with you on that. Have an online to-do list that gives you that dopamine hit. So don't use Trello, because you can't tick things off and it really annoys me. So use something simple like Todoist. Asana is quite simple if you set it up in the right way. All these things look too complicated. Notion. Great. Set it up really simply. Look at a YouTube tutorial, and you can still have that dopamine hit with ticking things off, but schedule them. Or what's happened? By the way, during recording this, my internet has gone down, but I think we can still carry on with the show. Yes. So remember, this is more of this you can find in the handout, but do delegate, delete, and schedule, because I think that's often what people miss is when you've got a big task, schedule it. You're not going to do it when you're in your inbox. You know, if it's something big that you're like, this needs to take some focus, a report you need to read, big decision you need to make. Say an example of one is that I just renewed my insurance, so I had to take the time to read the policy. It frustrates me. You pay people to sort these things out for you, and then they're like, you still ultimately need to read the policy. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to read that. So yeah, schedule time to do that in. Set times throughout the day. And what I'm next going to talk about is, right, this is great, but your inbox is a mess, is the place you're coming from. So here's my third tip here. Take time out. Schedule a day. Schedule half a day or 3 hours, whatever you can do. If you're employed or it's just not possible during your work day, arrange with your partner, okay, getting 3 days done and clear out this inbox. This is starting afresh in a non-toxic productivity way, but getting your brain afresh and everything in your inbox, because I know it's sometimes so tempting just to delete stuff. Unsubscribe. My hack with this is create a filter, find anything safe. This is what you'll have an insight into my personal emails, ASOS. Anything from ASOS, and just delete it all, because I don't need any of it unless there's some orders I might be sending back recently, but get rid of it and then create a filter for it, because if I know that ASOS is being filtered into a folder, then I don't need it coming into my inbox. I just need to be able to know where I need to find it, if I need to see where my order's coming in, or if I need to schedule a return or something like that. Scheduling, having a very, very simple, do not overload those folders, and a filter. So I'm going to give you an example of my work inbox. All newsletters go to a newsletters folder, because I do want to see them. Sometimes there may be something of interest to me. Sometimes I just might want a simple procrastination time to check some newsletters, but it's in my control then. It's not distracting me when there's stuff in my inbox I need to do, or if I'm having that core time in it. But it is there if I want it, or if I know, okay, I know this person I've seen on Instagram said they've got something coming out in their newsletter that might be of interest in me, I can go and read their newsletter, but I'm doing it on my terms, not when my inbox dictates it to me. And that is the whole key. You should not be a slave to your inbox. No one emails the fire brigade, as Rachel Accountant, she's been on the podcast, says, and that is so true. If your team, if your clients need you, they know where to find you. And if they don't, that is something you should be setting out in your contracts or in your expectations, is where does regular comms come into? What's the expected turnaround time? And if there is an urgent things do happen. How can they find you? WhatsApp? Can they call you? And you know that that's going to happen. Like for now, I'm recording a podcast. My inbox isn't going to be checked, and that's okay. And that should be okay if you're just doing regular work or focused time, or doing one of your scheduled tasks, which you've done. So there are my tips today. I'm coming with more, but to find out more, if you enjoyed this episode, we have put together resources for this whole mini series. Go to The Agenda, which is on Substack. You can find us, The Agenda, Caroline Marshall. There'll be links all down below. You can find out more and download resources to help you. We are doing this to support you in running your business, as well as bringing our assistant skills and showing what we do in our industry and how we can help you. So please go there, drop me a message. Did you find this useful? What things would you like to learn from me running a virtual assistant agency? Thank you so much for listening to Bump to Business Owner. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please do rate, review, follow, or subscribe wherever you're listening. It really helps us to connect with more mums and business owners. You can DM me on @BumpToBusinessOwner on Instagram, and I'll be back next week.